I think I'm kind of done, I think. But if you want to possibly do some like rank 3 stuff, I might still feel like it here in a little bit, but I'm getting pretty hungry. And I'm guessing when I'm done going over this thing, I'm probably going to want to get something to eat. But tomorrow, we will start this build and get it cracking. I was thinking if I felt good enough, we might start it now, but I think we'll just go through this, and then tomorrow we'll start the build, and then just kind of take it slow. It should be pretty easy. It's not very complicated, especially being that it's going to be, you know, on the open frame like this. It's going to go really quick. The wiring is going to be easy. It's all modular, so it's just going to be fine-tuning where I want stuff to be and whatnot, so it should be a piece of cake. But let's see what we got here. This is one of their newer AIOs, so I'm pretty excited about this thing. All right, but yeah, man, that was a blast, dude. I always enjoy having you guys come in and help with the grind, and didn't even know we were chasing a mark. So I hope you were able to get your mark too, but man, yeah, definitely, sure. I am going to leave War Thunder up, so I'm not going to change the category, but what I am going to do is, since my other camera is not working, we're just going to have to make do with this one. Whee! That's what I don't like my PC right now. Things don't scale right. I'd have to go in and change all the crops. That's why my other camera, I was planning on using it, because it can go full screen. All right. Taking this away. Ugh. And I know it's reversed, but man, amazing with this huge screen. It's going to be nice to just glance at it and be able to see all that diagnostic stuff. The state is elevating as the hurt turns into hating. Feelings again. Whee! I will say Asus always goes all out on their packaging. The other AIO we opened up, I was really happy to see that they enclosed the actual rad with like plastic covers so that the vents didn't get all dented up. Oh my goodness, this thing is heavy too, super heavy. One outer box. Oh man, this thing is legit. All this time I've been waiting. Is there any way to save that? I'm so OCD. Yeah. It's got a really nice sticker on there I wanted to try and save. I didn't want to cut it. I'm here to stay. All right, there we go. Mike was in the way. All right. Oh my goodness, man. Bring it down. All right, screen module installation guide. Wow, this thing is like super boxed up here. I'm sure you can kind of see that's the screen right there, right on top. So there's our pump. And it's curved all the way around. And what's kind of cool about this screen is supposedly, we'll play around with it, but supposedly it'll do 3D effects with the naked eye, so you can put animations and stuff on there that'll show up in 3D without like having to have glasses or anything. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Do some clips and stuff in the future. All right, these are that's our mounting bracket. This is the other mounting bracket for the screen, and then this is the rad, which again is all boxed up really nicely. I don't want to just yank it out here. Can I still skip it? No. All right, hang on here just a second. This over. Can't believe how heavy this thing is. Way heavier than I expected it to be. This box is like glued together, which is why I'm just making sure before I rip it all apart here. All right, we'll leave that like that. All right, you guys can see that's the bracket that sits on top. There's the pump, nice and covered in plastic. It's already got thermal paste pre-applied. The fans that you can kind of see in there are already installed on the radiator, which is nice. So yeah, we just need to pull it out of the box and mount it. Nice and aluminum, nice. Cool, it looks like it's in really good shape. The other interesting thing about this particular AIO is most of them, all right, you can see the tubing here. You can see how short it is. It's only 200 millimeters. It's really, really short. So this particular AIO is kind of meant for some of the ASUS cases that have like the whole BTF and behind the, you know, hidden connectors and all that, which is why it's short, be mounted on top, and it just real short tubes goes right there. Just minimizes clutter. I would have there is a different version of this that has, so the tubes are not only short, but they're mounted in the middle of the radiator and not on the end like a lot of AIOs are. So that should help with pump life as well, to keep air from getting into those tubes, especially the way we're going to mount it on top. But yeah, something to keep in mind for other AIOs. And if you guys are interested in this one, make sure that you're looking for, oh wow, that's interesting, like a little belt there. Make sure that you get the correct model for whatever case that you're working with. If you've got an ASUS case, you're probably okay going with this shortened tubed version, but there is a version that is normal that has the tubes on the end, and I want to say it's like 400 millimeters, so you get way more room to, you know, mount it. This is pretty limited in how you can mount it. There's only a couple of ways you can do it and still have enough room to make it to the processor. All right, cool. Love me now, you will never love me again. I feel like there's something missing. Oh, there's that. All right, that's for the tubes. That goes like that. Clips on there. It's just a little tube clip to keep them together once you mount the deal. Not sure if the light will show it, but that's kind of nice with the ROG etched on there. Pretty cool. Okay, yep, that's just all our hardware. So plastic collars, radiator screws, everything labeled all nice. Actually get a manual that's not completely worthless. That's actually pretty nice. A lot of stuff now, you just get that stupid Q code, right? That's lazy, guys. That's lazy. Of course, gotta love our swag sheet, sticker sheet. Well, actually, it's so funny. All my other builds that I've done in the past, you know, the cases that I use or whatnot, I've never really made use of many of the decals and things that you get. This one being with a frame like that, we might actually be able to swag it out a little bit. The one you sold to fool the world. Is there anything else in here that's hidden? Good God, you're coming up with reasons. I just want you guys to see how enormous this thing actually is. Look at that. So look how big this screen is. Thing is huge. That's gonna be nice. It's gonna look sweet. So all in all, thank you again to Asus. They've provided me with the motherboard. They provided me with the 5060 GPU, and they did provide me with an AIO as well, but this is the one place that I went ahead and upgraded it a little bit, because the AIO that they sent me, if you were here for that unboxing, it's a really good one. It's essentially exactly the same as this, but it didn't have a screen on there, and I wouldn't be big on that, except that it's going to be that open air test bench style, and I want that onboard monitoring of the temperatures and stuff like that, especially at first. I'm not a huge fan of having these screens on the motherboards and stuff like that. While it's really cool and it looks awesome, I'm curious to see how much resources this uses to be constantly polling and updating those temperatures. You know, it's a 2K screen, so I mean that's a lot of even the GPU might be used a little bit with if we start using clips and animations and stuff. So I'm curious to see, because a lot of people have a screen on their AIO, a screen on their motherboard, then another screen on their case, you know, and they've got all these screens running that are useless really, and they're just drawing power and resources from your gaming. You know, so again, I didn't want to add too many, but because it was open, I did. And of course, I wanted one that, you know, was newer. That one they sent me was the last generation, which is fine. I appreciate it, and it was awesome. But again, just upgrade it, make sure it lasts a little longer. This has the newer pump in it, the 8th gen vice the 7th gen, which I couldn't find huge differences between the two. But again, whenever I do a build, I usually like to overbuild a little bit for future proof, which is a little more difficult to do nowadays than it was, just because things are so specific. You know, you need the special connector for this, or the special power thing for that, or, you know, DDR5 and all that. Used to be, it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how long DDR5 lasts, because when I did this DDR3 build in 2011, that was the idea, was that I would be, you know, upgrading the RAM and all that, and then DDR4 comes out. Now it's useless again. So I'm kind of curious to see how long DDR5 lasts, because future proofing may not be possible anymore. You might not be able to really do that for long generations like we used to. You know, you used to be able to do a build and you had a good 10 years if you upgraded right, that your system was still viable. Now you've got about 5, if you're lucky. So yes, that's not only gonna help with the thermals, I think, a little bit more, because the fans are also a little more powerful, but it's gonna look a lot cooler too. That other one just had a little logo on the AIO, having that screen on there where I can look at it, and I don't have to have an overlay on a monitor that I have to like alt tab to, or have up all the time, taking up a screen, a little place on the game. I didn't want that, especially with doing all this testing for the first few weeks. I want to be able to monitor stuff in real time all the time